Hi guys! Today I have a super simple recipe for you that includes basically just only these things. So today I'm gonna show you my basic mashed potato recipe. I think mashed potato is a thing that almost everybody loves. I'm gonna say almost because there's always somebody there who probably doesn't like it, but I think it's something that's made a lot. It's made for the holidays, so for Thanksgiving, it's made for Christmas in some cultures, and maybe even for New Year's. And then it's also something that's made weekly. So I think it's a really basic thing that we love and that can be served in many ways, but I'm going to show you my way today for a really creamy and flavorful mashed potato. So let's get started. So first step, really simple. You need to peel the potatoes, and I am going to give you some guidelines to the amounts, but I never really measure the butter, the milk. I just look at the consistency. So that's what I'm gonna show you today, and then you can adjust the recipe really easily, no matter how much you are making. So then I have my potatoes ready. What I also like to do is to boil some water. So I pre-boil it in the kettle, and then it goes a little bit faster once I start cooking the potatoes. So now just cutting my potatoes. I have these kind of smaller pieces, which also makes the cooking faster. And then I have all the potatoes here. Now I just need to add a little salt. So I like to salt the potatoes when I boil them, but then I also check the salt when I make the actual mashed potato. So it can be that we need to salt twice. And then I just need to get my kettle where I pre-boil the water, and just gonna pour over the water so that all of the potatoes are covered. And then we just want to bring them to boil, and boil for about 15 minutes or until they are completely soft. And then it's been those 15 minutes, and I've checked already, but I'm gonna show you again. So we're gonna check on the potatoes. So what you want to do is grab a fork and then just check a few of the potatoes through the whole pot, so that they're all really nice and soft. And that means they're ready. So if you can pierce them with the fork, or you can kind of break the piece of the potato with the fork, then it means it's ready. And I'm just gonna strain the water. So the next thing, while the potatoes are still really hot, is we need the butter. So I'm gonna get my butter. I'm also gonna get the milk right away. We will need that in a bit as well. Also my potato masher. Then some dry garlic powder and salt in case we need that. And also a little black pepper. So now the first thing is to add the butter so that the butter starts melting. So as I said, I don't have a measure for this. I just add depending on how much potatoes I have. So I think it's about 2 to 3 tablespoons for this amount. And then what I'm gonna do is just gonna mix in the butter so that it's covered with the potato. If you like the mash a little bit buttery, then you can obviously add more butter. And then we just want to allow the butter to melt. What I'm also gonna do At this point is I'm gonna add in the garlic. So this is dry garlic powder, and I'm adding 1 teaspoon. So I'm adding it in now so that it starts absorbing, so the potatoes start absorbing the flavor from the garlic already now. And the rest of the seasoning we can do later. So now I'm just gonna cover it for a couple of minutes and then we can start mashing the potatoes. So it's only a couple of minutes that you will need. The butter will melt really fast because the potatoes are so hot. And then, well, I like to mash my potatoes with this kind of a potato masher, but you could also use any other kind of masher that you have. And if there are any friends, fans, you know, there is many ways of mashing the potatoes or many ways of serving the mashed potatoes. So some like it really nice and smooth and some like some bits in their mashed potatoes. So whichever way you like, you can make it the way you like it. So I just want to get through the whole pot so that I have almost like a really smooth mash. And then I'm gonna start adding the milk. So now it's almost smooth, so it's not really smooth yet, but the milk is gonna help there. So I know some use cream, and if you prefer cream, you can use cream. I personally don't like the taste because it's too creamy for me. Then I prefer to use full fat milk. So just adding some first, so I would say maybe about half a cup, so about, I don't know, very roughly about 50 to 100 milliliters first. And then you just want to continue mashing it and checking the consistency. So what I like to do is I like a really soft mash. So I tend to add quite a lot of milk. But if you don't like it as, well, it's not runny at that point, but if you don't like it quite like that, then you can adjust it at the time that you're making it. So now that I'm mashing it, I see how it changes and I can add a little bit more milk. You would also want to taste it and add a little bit more butter if you feel like it needs a little bit more of that buttery taste. You can also add a little bit more of that garlic powder if you want a more intense flavor, and you want to taste for the salt and add any extra if it's needed. And also at the very end, I'm gonna season with a little bit of black pepper. So now I'm gonna continue mashing. You can see it's really soft and fluffy already, but I'm gonna add a little bit more milk. So a couple of tablespoons. And then I'm gonna continue mashing it. So now it's really soft. I'm really happy with the consistency. I can put the milk away, and also I'm gonna grab a spoon. Actually 2 spoons. So I'm gonna grab a big spoon so I can show you how the mash looks. And then we are gonna taste, so we know how it tastes and whether it needs anything added to it. So this is how it looks at the end. It's super creamy. There are some odd bits because of the masher that I use, and we don't mind, but if you want it really smooth and you also only have this kind of a masher, what you can do is to push the mashed potato through a sieve. That's quite a lot of work, but if you want it completely smooth, that's the word I'm looking for, then you just do that and you get a really smooth mashed potato. So we are not too buttered with some little odd pieces, so I'm gonna leave mine like this, and it's super creamy. I want to eat it already. It smells so nice. So that means we can taste. So I'm gonna make a little taste test. So to my taste, it has enough of the garlic, but it needs a little bit of salt. So I'm gonna add a little more. I'm also gonna add the black pepper now. Just a little, but here again you can add to taste. And then giving it one final mix. So that's it. That was my mashed potatoes, looking really nice and creamy. I'm just gonna cover it up so it doesn't go cold in the meantime. And you can serve it as it is. You probably know a dozen ways of serving the mashed potato, and you probably have your own favorite way of serving mashed potato. I like to serve mine with a side of fish or meat, and then I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of chives on top of the mashed potatoes just before serving, so that adds some little extra flavor as well. I also have a recipe for which you can use leftover mashed potatoes. I don't know if that ever happens to you. Almost never happens in this family, but if you have leftover mashed potatoes, for example after the holidays, then I'm gonna link a recipe here for you for potato flatbreads. That is a recipe from Finland, and we absolutely love those flatbreads. So even though we don't really have leftover mashed potatoes, I just make extra for the flatbreads. So if you like something like that, you might want to have a look at the recipe. I hope you enjoyed this really simple tutorial for my mashed potatoes, and if you did, don't forget that thumbs up for support. And also, if you're new to my channel, then you can subscribe right now, and don't forget to tap the bell so you won't miss any of the new videos. Thank you for watching my video. Bye bye until next time.